What's going on? My voice cracked right when I said that. I feel like I should say that at the
You,
beginning. I
you
think I
you
said it
hit
over
puberty.
again. I did. I just turned 13 right here. What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazique, aka UniqueMazique, the hardest working man in sports and gaming. And that right there, y'all can't see him yet because he ain't said nothing, is Nelson Blake II. What's happening?
How's it going, man?
I'm chilling, man. I'm doing everything I know how to do. And a couple things I don't know how to do, but I'm learning.
Oh, you talking about playing Mortal Kombat
Oh,
and
oh,
Road to the
oh,
Show?
wait, what time is it?
You said things you don't know how to do.
The show just started.
I,
And here
I'm
you
just
go.
trying to
We
clarify for the
already
audience
have
some specification.
we already have Kobe and Ray Allen part 2. And you want to start. See, he just got rid of himself. You see that what just happened? Y'all see Nelson just disappeared, right? That was God. That was God. Because God don't like it when you don't act correct. That he don't like it. So he just saw him acting up and like that, removed him, got him out of here. See there? You see what happened? Now he coming back. I'm assuming. There he goes. He can't. I told everybody that was God.
That's your toxicity.
Because you,
I decided to quit for a second, and I changed my mind at the last minute. I said
yes,
no,
yes.
I have to oppose the lies and
I
keep telling the people the truth.
I saw you just had some sort of little you lost time for a second, but it's okay. If everything's all right. Now, we got obviously we talked about some of the things, or you guys saw in the description um of the stream what some of the things that we're going to talk about. But before we want to go to that, it's a couple of things that I want to share with you guys. It's about a website that I actually have really kind of become familiar with. Actually, to be honest, I actually used to produce content for this website, and so I actually really do believe in it. It's called the basketballwriters.com. It's tbw.com. And basically what they, the whole objective is, if you're tired of clickbait ads, pop-up videos, and talking head hyperbole, big market bias, and data selling, and if you're tired of the soap operas, the wild speculation, and some quote unquote unnamed sources, or if you're tired of padding the stats of CEOs and shareholders while your favorite content creators like me, I know I should be one of those people, gets paid pennies for their work. You know what? We are too. And that's why people like the guys and girls involved at the Basketball Writers was created. It's at bballwriters.com, and they concentrate on just the game of basketball and everything that basketball fans love about it, from the NBA, WNBA, EuroLeague, fantasy basketball, and the many corners of the hoops universe that they're soon to explore. And it's all in one blazingly fast place. It's a clean site that lets you choose which writers to directly support while you're still enjoying all of the content from the entire team. So if you go over to bballwriters.com, and don't forget to enter the code MeBro Show for a 10% off of an annual, monthly, or daily subscription. I put the link to the discount code that is exclusive to us. I put that in the description of the video, so take a look at it. They are attempting and looking to elevate the conversation, and as well as elevating the game. So, what's good? Tell me,
Uh,
tell me, tell me something good, Nelson.
Oh, what's good? I'll tell you something good. I was on my friends list, and I
You
was
what?
watching. I was looking at which of my friends have been playing a lot of Mortal Kombat, and the person with the second. Keep in mind, I have people from the fighting game community on my list. People who compete in and win at tournaments. In fact, Coach Steve just won the local tournament here, where Sonic Fox actually he plays here.
Mm,
So these are high quality players. And out of all my friends, who has the second most amount of matches in rank mode?
mm-hmm.
You
Me?
do. You
I
do.
do.
You do.
Wow.
You've been hitting it. It's good news to me, man. I like seeing
Yeah.
people grind.
Man, honestly, I don't lose to people who aren't really good.
Well, you have a 50-50 record, so
Man, I must be getting some hellified matchups because, but I will. Here's what I will tell you. I At first when I was playing, what used to happen was I would either absolutely annihilate somebody who just
mhm,
wasn't good, or I would get absolutely annihilated by somebody who was, right?
mhm.
That's what used to happen. Now I know that there's some growth because I'm having really good matches with some people.
Yeah,
Like I'm still blowing some people out,
yeah,
but I'm having some matches that are going down to the fifth match,
mhm,
and both of us have one win apiece.
yeah,
And like that person will win while and all they got is critical left, or
mhm,
I'll
mhm.
win and all I got is critical left. And that wasn't happening. So to me, by creating a medium there, I know that I must be getting better.
Okay.
I
So you're
must be
saying
getting better.
there's a chance.
I'm saying there's a chance. No, I put it like this. I know for a fact that I would take at least a round from you now.
Around you, you'll probably get around. You won't get a whole like fight. You
No,
won't
I
get
think I would. I think I would.
okay.
I think 10-1 maybe now, or or maybe 10-2.
All right.
I do. I think so. I think so.
When you think you could get 10-3,
He- did he set my goal?
yeah. When you, I'm letting you know when I'm available for more training.
He just
when
set my goal.
when you think you could get 10-3, see me. I'm a 10-0 you again, but I'll tell you why you didn't reach your goal. How about that?
Is that what it is? You know what? You know what? I think I'm not. You ever somebody ever? You know what that felt like? That felt like somebody gave me $100, but they spit on it and slapped me with it before they gave it to me. That's what that felt like. That's what that felt like. I don't know. I'm not sure how to take that. But let's talk about what we generally come here to talk about.
We got some sports and gaming to
We
talk
got some
about.
sport. Well, we was talking about gaming, but that's how that is. But let's
Yeah,
talk about what we generally come here to talk about. We had the Kobe Ray Allen debate,
we did.
but it really
World
wasn't.
famous.
It really wasn't a debate. What it was a witch hunt, and all of y'all participated in it. So my blood is on all of y'all's hands.
Which was you?
Huh? What happened?
Which were you?
No, it was on all of y'all hands because y'all came
Uh-huh.
out like a bunch of wild dogs. Blood dripping off your mouth, just looking savage. And this is what you guys did. And so first and foremost, I thought y'all loved me. Y'all told me you loved me. So I feel bad in that way. Um and
It's
uh
all love, Brian.
it was no,
They trying to protect you
no,
from
it was
yourself.
not. It was not love at all.
It's an
Uh
intervention. They
some
saying you have a problem.
Yeah, he have a problem. He have a problem. Uh I really don't. I really didn't appreciate what y'all was doing. But check this out here. I'm gonna finish what I was saying because I was rudely interrupted as I was stating my case. So I'm gonna tell y'all what I was saying. Now y'all are free to feel whatever way you want to feel, but I'm gonna finish telling y'all what I was saying. Okay. So here's my point. Now, you know what? Let me roll it back. Let me first say this. I do not hate Kobe Bryant. Let me
Oh, we
just say
starting
that.
with
Let
lies.
me just say
I
that.
thought you was going to tell the truth
No,
about how you feel.
I'm telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God, I am. Okay. I don't hate Kobe Bryant. But I made this analogy talking to books another time. And y'all, okay, because I'm about to create more hate. So prepare yourself.
I know where this is going,
Put put your
and
put
I'm
your
about to
jacket
get
on.
an umbrella.
Okay. And I'm gonna tell you this. I know I can point out I can point out the number one and number two haters that's about to come after me after I say this. It's going to be Jason Battle and 1989. Out of our chat, out of our regulars in the chat, those two are going to come after me the most when I say what I'm about to say. I don't hate Kobe Bryant, but Kobe Bryant is to me a lot like my feelings for him are similar to my feelings for Tupac. Get ready. For me, it's not Kobe's fault that Kobe starts to get on my nerves a little bit. It's Kobe fans that make me that gets on my nerve, that get on my nerves, right? That's what gets on my, because to me, they overblow him like to his place that's like, oh my God, like they act like he shot 65% from the field, 70% from the three-point line, and just won every championship he ever competed for. And I kind of feel the same way with Pac. Like sometimes people who are Pac fans, they go so hard on their Pac fandom that it's just nothing that you can say to them ever at all critical. And I don't hate Tupac. I probably know more Pac songs than everybody who runs around talking about they a Pac fan. But sometimes people just go so far with it.
Okay, so for the audience playing at home, let's establish some parameters here, some
Mm-hmm.
identifiable markers
Mm-hmm.
with from which we can relate the rest of the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you have Tupac on your all-time rappers list?
So here come the hate. See, that was a setup. That was a setup. You know
Can
what you
you
just did?
answer a
You know what you just
question?
did? You know what you just did? You just put like you took a Yankees fan and sat him in the middle of Fenway and told him to give his top 5 Red Sox. That's what you just did,
Why
right?
don't you keep New York sports out your mouth? Answer the question.
I'm just saying. Okay. Um
It
Pop
comes
pop
fan talk about the Yankees.
pop pop.
Quiet, peasant.
You ain't even no Yankees fan. You a Mets fan more than a Yankees fan.
That's true. That's true.
So, all right. So Pac's not in my top 5. He's not.
Okay.
He's not in my top 5.
Top
Doesn't
10?
mean I probably, maybe. Because see, I judge hip hop indifferently than most people. I am a like, okay. I rap, like that was my thing. That, like, all day, every day, I wrote. I mean, I just notebooks wrote. That's what I did. And so lyrics are everything to me. Like I like linguistics, and I like people with clever stuff. And Pac always had a great delivery and a great voice. But as a writer, I thought there's 50 people I can name that to me were better writers. Everybody don't have to be the freaking hip hop Shakespeare. That's not necessary, because we all have a different thing that we bring to the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
But um, for my personal taste, what Pac brought to the table wasn't the thing that
Okay,
lit
so
my
and
lamp.
this will help us with the Kobe discussion, because there's a difference between your personal taste and where you think he really is in the pantheon, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, for myself, I do not like any Kanye verses ever.
Oh,
I
really?
I've never heard a Kanye West verse that I like.
Wow.
As a producer, I love him, but as an
Wow.
actual rapper, I can't stand a single one of his verses. But for the overall consideration of where he is, I would still rank him high because of the things that he does that other people appreciate more than me, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'd
Okay. I
rather
can dig
listen
it. I can
to the
dig it.
worst Lupe Fiasco song ever, and he's got some bad ones, than the best Kanye verse, right? In terms of Kanye on the track.
Hmm.
Now, if Kanye produced one of Lupe's albums, then I'd be deliriously happy.
Well,
But that wouldn't change where I would put Kanye all time, my personal dislike aside. So, for you, personal dislike aside, where do you rank Tupac overall? Because he was one of the most prolific and powerful rappers out of everybody.
yeah, I don't think there's ever been a more commercially influential rapper ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just all things considered, I don't think there's ever been anybody to make the impact. So if we flip it into a basketball thing, Pac is kind of like what I project Zion Williamson to be. I mean, obviously, I don't want Zion Williamson to leave before
But
it's time.
in your top 10 rankings, is Pac in your top 10?
No, he's not in my top 10.
Wow. So I mean, not in your personal top 10. Do you think he is a top 10 rap artist of
He's
all
a
time?
yes, yes. Oh yeah, yes. Okay, yes.
Okay. So in that
Yeah,
top
right.
10, do you have him in the bottom 5?
No, if I'm removing my evaluation categories on what I say is like quality, like a quality MC, then if I remove that and I look at things like notoriety, accomplishments, and that sort of thing, then he's top 2, 3, because then it's not solely about skill, it's about impact. And if you're talking about impact, I mean, you could make an argument that there's never been anybody more impacting.
Well, I'll make another comparison. I don't like the Beatles very much, right?
Okay.
Now, for people at home, I'm a guitar player and I've been playing guitar for a while. I love guitar music, and the Beatles are guitar music. I like other bands around the Beatles. So I'm okay with the Rolling Stones, like Zeppelin more, love Pink Floyd, right? So it's not like I don't like that kind of music. But for me personally, if I never hear another Beatles song again, I'm fine with it. But in terms of greatest bands, I don't think they're trash. I just don't like them. Do you think Tupac is bad and other people like him because of other things, or do you think Tupac, he's nice but he's just not nice at the stuff that you consider important?
You know, he is where he was, rest in peace. He was
Allegedly.
he right. He might be in Cuba. But
Illuminati
no,
confirmed.
right. He was nice at some things that I do value.
Okay, okay.
Like delivery wise, I mean, Pac had a way of everything he said sound like it was really important. I
Yeah.
mean, he could be talking about Hinkley Springs water, and it it sounded like Hinkley Springs water was the thing that you needed to know about, right? And like his voice, his voice, period. Like I would put his voice in the top 3 or 4 with Chuck D, Guru, right there in that same range, right? But all things considered, like I'm a line for line guy. I'm a line for line guy.
Well, and here's where I want to delineate, because there's a difference between saying my personal top 10, which is
right.
heavily biased and subjective,
Yes.
and if you put me on like a committee of voting for the top 10, would I put that person in? So
Yeah.
the Beatles wouldn't make my personal top 500 bands, but if I was making a top 10, rock acts list, they'd be in my top 5. They wouldn't be number 1. I genuinely think Queen is better than them in every way, but I would still have the Beatles ranked. So my thing with, if you were being objective, where do you put Tupac, all things considered?
All things considered. All things considered, I would say top 4.
Okay.
Top 3, 4. Like,
so
like all things considered, removing my own stuff.
Now here's an important part of our discussion here.
Right. And I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
Because when you say someone's overrated or grossly overrated, if you put them in the top 4, but everybody else has them in the top 3, that's not grossly overrated. You just tired of hearing about them. Right?
True.
So like Kobe,
True.
you have Kobe as a top 10 NBA player, right?
Yes.
All time.
Yes.
Most people don't have Kobe ahead of LeBron, Jordan, Kareem, and Magic.
I would disagree. I think that it depends on the age range of who you're talking to.
Well, I'm saying when every discussion I've had and all of the lists that I've read, Kobe starts coming in anywhere between 5 and 8. I haven't seen him on too many lists where he slips below 8, and I haven't seen him on any list where he's above 5. Now, there's a different discussion that people have about who would you rather have. But then there's the greatest all-time stuff. And then when there's greatest all-time, there's that list when you think of who had the most game, who you could transfer from that time. And then there's accomplishments.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. See, I think that's where LeBron is going to get a lot of people, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to accomplish more than him. You
Unless
know,
you are talking about the championship discussion.
right? And you know what? For whatever reason, I still think he's going to win another one. I don't know how it's going to happen.
It's
I
not
just
looking good.
right. I
Magic
don't know
Eight
how.
Ball says outlook not great.
I think he's going to win one more. And I don't ask me why. And I don't have any direct path or whatever. But he's the type of guy that just attracts a certain level of success, and he's going. I think he's too motivated for it, not for it to happen to him at least one more time. That's just my
Here's the
personal
thing.
thing.
If he wins another one, the thing that will differentiate him from his nearest competition, which are Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Mm-hmm.
Those I separate Bill Russell because again, if your last game was in black and white, get different discussion. I'm just saying it's a different discussion.
I try to tell you. You know what? I'm getting calls from seniors about you.
They don't know how to use phones.
They are calling me up on their rotary dials, and they're like, why is your friend so mean to us? That's what they say. All the old people.
To be clear, I'm not saying that his accomplishments don't matter. I'm saying that the circumstances under which they happen, like, I mean, literally an 8-team league, are so different that it's not apples to apples.
It's not.
Where
It's not.
I do feel that from about post merger, we're having an apples to apples argument for the most part. There are some big exceptions, like pace of play, up for some people, way down for other people. So points per game you can kind of throw out the window, because if this guy averaged 30 points on a team that averaged 90 points, this guy averaged 35 on a team that averaged 120 points, the numbers aren't equal because they scored a higher percentage of their team's points with a lower PPG. So it's apples to apples if you're being intelligent about it, not oversimplifying.
Mm-hmm.
But I think before 1975, it's just not apples to apples.
No, I totally agree. But so
right.
So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring it. So we can, because we can go on for this forever, because we done branched out we didn't talk about Tupac.
But this was healthy discussion.
No,
Brian.
it was. But so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring it back and I'm gonna explain why I said that, wrap up that part, why I said the Pac thing, and relate it back to Kobe. And then I'm also gonna say what I was saying about Ray Allen, because we ain't said his name yet, and he's the one that y'all love so much. So check it out. I know how great Kobe was. I know. Trust me. I watched it. I watched it from rookie year. And I said, that little dude is a beast. And I said, that little dude is so freaking confident that he doesn't care. He doesn't care if he missed the first 40. He's shooting it again. And don't ask him why he shot it, because he gonna tell you, because I'm Kobe. And that is a quality in itself, right? And I respect that. But when I'm still stepping back and I'm looking at him, I see some situations where there are some players who I would prefer to have, who may actually have been less talented, but because of everything that they brought, I think that they would have been a better fit, or they could have done just as much, if not more, from a team standpoint. And Ray Allen, prime Ray Allen, which I consider prime Ray Allen. When I say prime, I consider, we were defining prime in two different ways. My idea of prime is, when did you have your best season? Not necessarily when are you in your prime of your life, your career, physically, so to speak. When did everything align and you had your best season? Right. So for me, prime is a retrospective concept. So I'm looking back at your career and go, turned out this guy's prime was from here to here. Some guys have shorter ones, some guys have longer primes, whatever. So for me, Ray was his best from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, and from an accomplishment standpoint in the 99 to 02 year. And for me, in that space, I think that if you took that Ray Allen and you put him on those Lakers teams, especially the first championships, if you put him on those teams, I feel that he would have done just as good as Kobe in that space. And
okay,
because of who he is as a player and as a person, just as a teammate, I like him better as a teammate on my team to keep my championship together. That was it.
Okay, and I understand where you're coming from. I mean, I think you win less championships. I don't think you win as much as he won because I don't think Ray. I mean, I think it's actually proven. Here's the thing: Ray Allen was in the Western Conference for a while,
Mm-hmm.
playing against those teams. He did not get into the playoffs and do any damage to the San Antonios, the Portlands, the Utahs, the Sacramentos. He didn't, you know, and then later on, I mean, he got shipped to the East Coast a little later, but even then on the up and coming front, Thunder and stuff like that, like they were not scared of Ray Allen the way they were scared of Kobe. And I would actually reverse it. I think if you put a 22-year-old Kobe Bryant on the Milwaukee Bucks versus Allen Iverson don't make it to the finals.
um, I don't know that I disagree with that because, but I don't think that my hesitancy to disagree with that point necessarily eliminates my original point, because I think that's circumstantial, and I think that is also about personality. I think that Bucks team needed somebody who was a little more selfish.
So here's the thing. I think a lot of what happens with Kobe, particularly in his first three championships, is because Shaquille O'Neal was so dominant, people give Shaquille O'Neal a pass on his many, many flaws. Shaquille O'Neal, throughout his entire career, has proven that his ego does not allow him to play with a star perimeter player for an extended amount of time. He's uncomfortable with those guys getting credit. And the thing is, he has said that. His coaches have said that. And those players who have all forgiven him, who have all become friends with him, even after forgiving him, have all said the same thing. Yeah, Shaq didn't like it when you were getting all that attention. There was no beef with Penny Hardaway. Shaq just didn't like that he had a commercial. Seriously, that's documented.
That one, I don't think was as much about that as it was. I think it was that, but I also think you remember that was at the height, if you want to call it that, of his rap career and the height of what he was trying to do from a film standpoint. And I think
he's literally said the words, "Oh, y'all think it's Penny's team? I'm gonna get up on out of here."
I don't. It's not that I don't think that was a factor, but I do think that the ability to advance himself from an entertainment standpoint also called him a bit too, for the LA thing. Now, the leaving LA to go to Miami, the Lakers chose Kobe.
Well, this was another Shaq flaw, because part of the reason that they had fallen out, period, and this again is documented. They've both attested to this, and Phil Jackson has spoken on this. Other teammates have spoken on this.
Mm-hmm.
Shaq, once he realized he had a stud on his team, was just gonna eat and not work out in the off season. And he said, "I'll work myself into shape during the season.
Yeah.
You got it."
I know. I 100% know. Yes.
And one story, Kobe's told the story a couple of times when he was on his 40-point streak.
Mm-hmm.
So Shaq's hurt, and Phil Jackson says, "Kobe, we need you to take over the offense." He scores 40 points a game, about to break, I think, Wilt Chamberlain's streak, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Shaq comes back, and Kobe's still hot, right? And the Lakers is winning. And Phil Jackson called Kobe into the office and said, "I think we're losing the big fella. We're gonna need it. We'll be fine during the regular season with you running the offense, but basically his ego can't handle this right now. So I want you to dial it back and let some of the shine and attention go back to Shaq." Kobe said, "Fine." And the next game he scored 38 points and stopped scoring. Like literally, he's like, "I could have easily."
And that is so Kobe.
Yeah,
that right there is so Kobe, because you know what? One of the things that really got me with Kobe and kind of dropped me a little bit, and we definitely got to move on because we're about 6 minutes over on this topic, but actually more than that, about 12 minutes. So
well, we had to cover Tupac.
We did. We got Tupac. But one of the things that got me with Kobe and kind of like hit a ceiling with me with him was it was the year. It was Kobe, Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Shaq, real fat Shaq, right? and the last year when they lost to the Pistons. So was that 03, 04?
Mhm.
They lost to the Pistons in the finals. Kobe was pissed. He was pissed at Shaq's lack of effort and Shaq's lack of conditioning, and he was pissed at a whole bunch of different stuff. You could tell that whole thing had come to a point, and it was those two could not go any further together. You could tell. In the finals, Kobe's like, I'm not shooting. I'm not shooting. I'm not for this whole stretch because I'm gonna show y'all what happens when I don't shoot. I'm gonna show you. And I thought that was super immature. Like I thought that was super immature, and I
But
thought
why aren't you as upset with Shaq for
I
eating
I
all the
I,
barbecue
I
ribs?
don't I do that's if I didn't hold Shaq accountable, Shaq would be my number 2 greatest center of all time. But I hold Shaq accountable because I know he didn't do oh, Shaq was the most dominant player of his time. He was. But people sometimes, Shaq doesn't get the love that Kobe gets. He doesn't get the respect that Kobe gets. And to be quite honest, he doesn't deserve it. He
No,
doesn't.
he was not as good of a player as Kobe Bryant after
He
all is
does.
said and done.
You know what? He could have been 20 times greater, but the reason he doesn't deserve it is because he didn't go and make himself that.
Well, I think people are too quick to assume that the mental part is easier to have.
Oh
That the
no,
mental
it's not.
talent.
It's not.
That's
It
the
just
thing. Like,
he
if you
didn't do
listen to
it.
Kobe speak, if you look at the way he approached the game, if you look at the career he had and how he accomplished what he accomplished, people just aren't made like that. Like,
No,
most people just aren't like that.
he's a strange dude.
You know,
He's a
you're
strange.
you're, you're almost just as lucky to be born with that level of focus, having access to it, as you are to be 7'2", 280 pounds.
Yeah,
Like, it's just as unlikely.
he's almost a perfect storm.
Hmm.
Almost. Because he's an elite level athlete on a whole nother level than at 99.5% of the people on the planet.
Everybody except for the true exceptions like Zion and Jordan and LeBron and stuff.
And
Like,
Giannis
Kobe's
and
in,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Kobe's in that tier of he's as good as a normal person can be.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's even better than that. I think he's he's elite crazy. Like you'll never see nobody that can do all this stuff that he can do. But then there's just a few 4 or 5 guys who they're crazier, right? But then you match all of that with this insane competitiveness and insane level of confidence, right?
And intelligence. Like,
And
he
intelligence,
understands
right?
the game.
Clearly not a dumb guy. Clearly understands the game and just overall, just a sharp dude, right? But the down part is he knows all of that about himself. And it created a monster most of his career. Now, I do 100% believe that as he got older, he got more mature and more humble and softened, and he wasn't that dude that he was before. But I think he spent more of his career as the angry kid with a chip on his shoulder with something to prove. And I think that is what cost him the type of performances. And I know we all know about the amazing performances, but the season long, postseason long type of stuff that you could look at and be like, I mean, like you look at him and Mike, right? And you say, all right, athletically, maybe somewhere close or whatever.
Oh, Mike's superior.
Mike's a better athlete, but not so much to the point where it's like literally, dude, you can't stay in front of him. Not that big of a disparity, right? But you then look at stuff like efficiency and numbers and those types of things, and it's not even close. It's really not even close. It's like he made a higher percentage of no, I don't even think he made a higher percentage of threes over his career. I don't even think he did. Just overall efficiency, Mike just blows him out. Blows him out.
It's because you're Michael Jordan.
Right. And so, but here's my thing. When we talk about him like he is on that level, that's the part that makes
But
me like
well, here's the thing. You say we.
no. When I
I
say we,
don't put Kobe with
I'm
Michael
not talking
Jordan.
about like you necessarily. I'm
But
still like if you
I don't think that's a valid argument. I don't think it's a. Well, let me say this. I think it's a valid losing argument
yeah.
that you can bring your Kobe Bryant evidence and say, here's why I think he was as good as Michael Jordan. And I'll look at the evidence, acknowledge your case, disagree with you,
Mm-hmm.
and leave it at that. I don't think it's completely ridiculous. There's only one championship disparity between the two of them. And then you look at the longevity of his career and the circumstances under which Kobe played. He didn't have the same coach the entire time, injuries, catching the tail end, not the tail end, but getting towards the tail end of Shaq's prime and having to rebuild with a brand new team. All that stuff. He didn't have like a young running mate like Scottie Pippen. You could almost go as far as to say if Shaq was, you know, 20 this instead of 20 that when he went to the Lakers, they would have got those other that extra championship would have got there, right? And then it'd be 6 versus 6. So, but I disagree. I think Jordan's a better player by all measures.
Yeah.
That having been said, here's the thing there's two things with the Ray Allen thing in particular. If you actually go back and look at those Lakers games in the playoffs, that offense compared to today was almost an anti-Kobe offense. Like so much of that offense was Shaq walk down to the block, Kobe throw it to him, walk to the other side, wait, Rick Fox for no reason I can explain, run next to Shaq while he's doing his post move. Like it was such a different era of clogging the paint, throwing it into the big man and waiting. It's almost kind of amazing that he got the numbers that he got, which I think is why he brings up. Imagine if Michael Jordan had to play with a big guy like Shaq, because Michael Jordan got to be the focal point of the offense for a very long time in that era. Now, again, I'm not making the case that that makes Kobe better than Mike. I'm just saying that when you actually look at the games on the floor, Kobe wasn't in the situation that Mike or a James Harden or a LeBron was in. He did what it took to win during those times, but it was a pretty like today that offense wouldn't fly at all. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could fly to a degree if you had a guy like Shaq and you had a guy like Kobe on the outside. I still think that type of offense can but the difference is they need two shooters. I mean, they need three shooters. They need three shooters on the
Well,
floor.
here's the thing what I'm saying. They had the shooters. Robert Horry was a shooter.
Yeah, but not. I mean, Robert Horry, yes, but Rick Fox and
Yeah.
Derek Fisher was. Derek Fisher was.
And Derek Fisher was. So think about it. Today, if you have Rick Fox, Horace Grant, Kobe Bryant, and Derek Fisher surrounding Shaquille O'Neal, draw me a map of how that will look on the court today versus how it looked back then.
Yeah, yeah. I
Back
mean,
then, it was Kobe in the corner, Fisher at the top, and all of the rest of the Lakers surrounding Shaq like satellites because it was just a different era. And this goes into the point. When Michael Jordan first took over, people were saying, we don't think a guard can win a championship,
right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was so big man centric. And the echoes of that were still happening when Shaq first got together with Kobe. By the time it was Kobe's second half of his career, things had opened up, and even the triangle was a more spaced out version of it. But it's pretty ugly in those early 2000s, man. Like it's a miracle. Like you look at Sacramento, they look like a modern team. They have four guys on the perimeter and Chris Webber at the free throw line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, running four out, one in pick and roll. And
yeah,
the Lakers got four giants in the paint, just missing layups until it happens right for them.
yeah.
And being in that situation, without considering that, and then looking at Kobe's efficiency and stuff like that, like some of the shots that Kobe took that were bad, there were several shots, like really a lot of them, where it's like that offense was trash to begin with. Of course, you took a fadeaway 2-pointer because that's what y'all was doing. You would actually look at what was on the court and be like, there's so many 3-pointers that would happen right now with those same players, not even new players, not even guys developing better shots, literally the same names. It would just be a better offense today,
Yeah, I
because
mean,
the 3-pointers are more of a thing.
I also think, and like I said, I promise y'all, we gotta move on. But I also think that there's something to be said for carrying the load and not like I think yes, did Kobe sacrifice by having to feed the big man? Yes, but he also benefited from the spacing that provided on when he did have the ball and was getting an opportunity to operate on the perimeter. Mike never played with a dominant low post threat. So he didn't have that space. The entire defenses were geared to stop him. And nobody could gear a defense to stop just Kobe when he played with Shaq. You had to stop Shaq first.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that matters too. But this it's insane how many different places that conversation can go. Because I've already renamed this segment so when it goes out separately. So y'all just wait to see what it's going to be. It's crazy. But let's move on to talk about Kevin Durant. And let me apologize to the editor right now because that segment was supposed to be 15 minutes long and we went like 35 or something.
And covered 3-4 topics.
Three,
So,
four, 3, 4.
Portia, we appreciate the hard work that you do.
Yeah, that was pretty gangster. But Kevin Durant, I, I already kind of have an opinion. What do you think about this with Kevin Durant and this series? If you're Kevin Durant, how do you approach this series?
I don't understand the question. What are his options?
You sit the rest
I
of
don't think he has the option to sit. I think he has a very serious leg injury.
Mm-hmm.
That the leg injury doesn't have a projection.
Okay.
Well, I think there's been a miscommunication between the Golden State Warriors and the media.
Okay.
And part of it might be because they love Kevin and they don't want to endanger his free agency by putting any panic out there because he'll never go away until people see him play again.
Right.
And I don't think it's a secret Achilles injury. I don't think that's the case. Like some people have that conspiracy theory. Some people still think it's an Achilles because of how it looked.
Mm-hmm.
I think what it probably is an intense calf sprain.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad one, right? So until he goes through certain things, they can't even evaluate when he should be playing, but without re-aggravating it. They don't even know that yet. There's not even a timetable. So for some reason, because we have the playoffs going on, people forget these people are made out of flesh and blood.
Yeah.
He strained his calf.
Yeah.
If most people would still have their leg up elevated on the couch right now.
Yeah. I don't know how many of y'all have ever had a strained calf, but I have, and it hurts. It's like it shuts you down, really.
Yeah.
And thinking about trying to play some basketball. Nah,
yeah.
bro.
So I'm gonna answer the question though. I would throw playing against the Portland Trail Blazers completely out the window. Completely out the window. Specifically because I know. Are we going to talk about the Raptors? Are we supposed to talk about them today?
Yeah, we got that. They're next, actually.
Okay. Because of the way that series is looking, and the Bucks have won a game, if you have to face the Bucks, you want to be at full strength, and they need to be. And I would say the main thing is they don't want any shakeups during the Portland series. Just beat them old school Warriors style. Blow them out the building. They can't guard Steph. And the way that team plays when they're being run by Steph. Knock them out in 5. Get KD some rest. And in the Milwaukee series, if Kevin is able to play, you're going to have to suck it up and have one this ain't really Kevin Durant game. And hopefully that's enough. But I think that's best case scenario according to what we know so far.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and I don't think Portland is close to Golden State's talent level. So
he's already ruled out of game 3 and 4.
Because they're not even evaluating him. This whole thing where people were like, "Oh, it's not his Achilles, so he should be back in a week or 2." No, he's not. He's walking and that's it. He's not doing any real basketball activities.
Yeah, if I'm him, I'm not playing. I'm done. I'm done.
Well, if he's healthy, he should play.
If he's healthy, he should play. But I don't think he's going to be 100% before this is all said and done.
I mean, in the playoffs, 80% is healthy. If he gets to 80% and it doesn't, and the doctors tell him there's no chance of re-aggravating it, or there's a very low chance of re-aggravating it, then I play.
Overcompensation injury.
It depends on how it feels. If he's able to get mobility and strengthen the calf, because I think it only take 2 weeks of working out to get strength back in the leg. So if he's able to do that and play, even if he's coming in game 4, that could be enough. Game 4 of the finals we're talking about. That could be enough to save your series if they're struggling. It's not like I don't think the Golden State Warriors can beat Milwaukee without Kevin Durant. I think it's possible. And I think I would probably have them as the favorite still. But if Milwaukee won, I would not at all be in any way surprised. And I definitely wouldn't bet money on Milwaukee losing. I think that's a close series because of how Milwaukee's built and who their best player is in relation to the Warriors' best players when there's no Kevin Durant.
I honestly, man, I think Milwaukee without Kevin Durant, if the Golden State doesn't have Kevin Durant, and I don't want to completely just kill the Raptors. We'll talk about them in a second. But if it is Milwaukee and Golden State, I think Milwaukee beats Golden State without Kevin Durant in 5 or 6.
Wow.
Because one of the things that I noticed is Golden State really, really excels when they play a team where it's not difficult to find a place to hide Steph Curry on defense, right? So with Golden State, I mean, with Portland, all right, they know they don't want to match up on Dame, and they know they don't want to match up on CJ McCollum often. Well, they have two players on the floor who they can throw at those two guys, and they can kind of hide Steph, and he never really ends up on one of those types of matchups. I think that no matter what happens with him playing against Milwaukee, he ends up on somebody he can't handle, and that they can go to drastically exploit him, get him in foul trouble, disrupt his rhythm overall. And I think that that is a problem. He can't guard Eric Bledsoe. He can't guard Chris Middleton. Lord knows he can't guard Giannis. So
No one can.
now he's on Nikola Mirotic or Brooke Lopez.
All right.
And I just really feel that is going to be a big thing. And whoever's guarding Giannis, you can't expect them to score more than 3 points a game this series. You can't ask them. You can't
That's
ask of them anything.
it's an interesting thing because Clay's production has dipped when he's had a really tough assignment. Now, with Kevin Durant there, you could say maybe that's part sacrifice. He doesn't have to do it, so he can be
Exactly.
more in the Kobe in the Olympics kind of thing. I'll
Exactly.
play defense, you guys take care of the offense. But against the Bucks, um, he's gonna have his hands full with Middleton and Giannis switching off to those guys. And every team has put 3 to 4 people, sometimes five, in the
Mhm.
paint with Giannis when he goes to the basket.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto did it really well last night. For 2.5 quarters, they did it really well. But when Brooke got hot, really hot,
So, all
it's
right, so you want to transition to Raptors versus Bucks
yeah. Let's switch to Raptors Bucks. My
because we
question,
kind of talk about them.
yeah, my question is, do you think that the Raptors have a chance to win this series?
Chance, yes. The chance is if the Bucks shoot poorly and the Raptors shoot well, the
Hmm.
Raptors can win because the Raptors are a super smart team. They play defense. They have a great player in Kawhi. Kawhi is, I mean, proven himself to be probably at worst a top three player in the league right now. Is
At worst,
Kawhi,
at
Kevin,
worst,
and Giannis.
at worst.
They're all in the same kind of category. I think they're kind of sharing it right now because they've all been really incredible so far.
Hmm.
They can. Do I think they will? No. Do I think the series could end in 4 or 5? Yeah, I do. Because it goes the other way too. If Milwaukee shoots adequately and the Raptors shoot pretty good, the Raptors still lose. See, this is one of those series where the Raptors have to play at least an A- game, and Milwaukee has to play a C- game in order for the Raptors to win a game. Yesterday, almost everything went poorly for Milwaukee for
Yes.
most of the game, with the
Hmm.
exception of Brooke Lopez.
Hmm.
The Raptors defend themselves. Danny Green sometimes is best at defending Danny Green.
Hmm.
It's the same thing for Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I was
You
just
don't,
about to say him.
yeah, you don't need to shut them down the way you need to shut down the guys on Milwaukee because the thing, and this is what I keep, the thing about the Giannis versus other players argument to me, people always bring up Giannis's shot, which, I mean, he's shooting fine in the playoffs, but I would rather my guy generate 4 3 point shots than one 3 point shot.
Then knock down one of his own.
Correct. And he is so extraordinarily elite at getting to the basket, finishing at the basket, drawing fouls, and hitting his free throws, and rebounding, and running the floor in transition. He's so elite at those things that you have to commit multiple resources to him. It's not like other players that are good at it. He's elite, all time elite at it. Prime LeBron and prime Michael Jordan are the only two players I've seen in my life that are as big of a threat going from beyond a 3-point line to the rim as Giannis Antetokounmpo. Only those two players,
I
right?
don't honestly, I don't know. I'll be honest. I try not to get caught up, but in getting to whatever, I don't know that I've ever seen um anybody more effective at going from the perimeter to the paint with effectiveness
Yeah,
like him. I don't know if I've ever seen any, but LeBron's the only other guy I can think of, because not even Mike, and it's obviously no slight to Mike, but he just didn't have the size and the power to do it in the
that's
way
what it
that
is. It's like, what
they.
if LeBron James was 6'11" and didn't choke in his free throws in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like this. We've said this before. Giannis is like a 6'11" Russell Westbrook.
Yeah,
He really is. And that style is so much more attractive for a 6'11" guy
yeah,
than it is for a 6'3" guy. So you don't see, people don't get on Giannis for the way he plays.
right.
I mean, he doesn't shoot as much as Westbrook, and Giannis doesn't really take bad shots. So I guess that's a little
Well,
different.
which goes to my point though of surrounding Westbrook with shooters. But without getting
No,
sidetracked,
no, no, you're no that, and that's why I've never disagreed with that.
yeah.
I never
And
have disagreed with that.
and to our point about Milwaukee, they're all in on that game plan.
They are.
They're all in on playing 2K League style basketball.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Season one, 5 out, 1 in, go
It,
to the
it's
cup.
it's a lot of season two too. So it's a lot of season two too.
So it's I and the thing is, I think the other players on the Milwaukee Bucks are just slightly underrated. Not terribly underrated. They're not all-stars, right? Technically Middleton made an all-star team, but he's not an all-star. The thing is though, because of how much attention Giannis draws, those guys aren't stiffs. They're not Anthony Morrow.
Mm-mm.
George Hill can make plays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
George Hill can go to the basket. We know Eric Bledsoe could go to the basket.
I mean, if you got, they may have 3 or 4 guys outside of Giannis on their team who have averaged over 20 a game in their career.
And I think that's a key thing, Brian, because they have. Here's another thing I talked about with OKC: depth of shooting. When you have a lot of shooters, the chances of one of those shooters getting hot is higher.
Yeah.
Right. So with OKC, once they lost to Brenus, it was Paul George or bust. If Paul George ain't hitting, throw your hands up in the air. And that's why when his shoulders was bad, I gave him no chance. I gave him no chance before the series started. I said, no, I don't think so. Because Paul George is not Paul George. And without Abrinas and Paul George, they can't do it. Milwaukee is the opposite. They are the dream scenario. They have shooters. I mean, we talking about Pat Connaughton.
Man, but I always like that kid.
Right. But I'm saying, like, this is after you go Bledsoe, Middleton, Brogdon, George Hill, Mirotic, Brooke Lopez, Pat Connaughton. You know what I'm saying? It's like their depth is insane in terms of the amount of guys that can shoot, that can penetrate, that can hit free throws, and that are all in on this game plan. And some of these shots these guys get, they are teeing it up. They are out there in the gym alone when they take these 3-point shots.
Yeah.
And this idea, again, I go back to the elite thing. Some people have the idea, well, just let Giannis get his. This is where I think your comparison to Michael Jordan is great. Because the idea with Michael Jordan is eventually he's going to get tired real like Duncan. Giannis ain't never going to get tired.
No, you know why? You know why he's not? Because it doesn't take him as much energy, because he's 6'11", and he's taking 1.5 strides when Mike
Right.
had to do a crossover, a spin, a hop
Right.
step just to finish that move. Giannis
Right.
went boom, 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 bow. And
Right.
then he spent more energy going like this.
Right. Then
Afterward
he did get into the
than he
basket.
did dunking on you.
Yeah,
So
I mean, like, and this might sound like an exaggeration, but I actually mean this. If you just said that and we're just like, we're going to stick to the shooters and let Giannis get his, you're literally giving up 2 points every single time. And he's going to get fouls on the guy who's guarding him.
and then the
And
guy
he's
you
going,
switch him on to after
and he
that.
going to break a record.
Yeah, yeah.
He gonna have 101
He
sign
gonna
up
be
at the end of the
he gonna
game.
be, he gonna be like authentic African in
Yeah,
the
exactly.
2K league.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's true.
Because that's what it's gonna look like. Because essentially, that is exactly. I don't know how many people in here watched the 2K league last year. Authentic African
Yeah.
set a record, had
Yeah,
84
88
points in
points.
the
Yeah.
game. 84. I think it was 8. I thought it was
Yeah.
84. Maybe
You might be right. You might be
it was
right.
something like that. And they essentially ran 5 out.
Mhm.
And he had a playmaker shot creator, I believe it was, is the arc he had.
Mhm.
And his limitations were very similar to what you would consider a limitation to what Giannis would have.
Mhm.
He wasn't a fantastic 3-point shooter, a decent mid-range shooter, but he'd get to the basket, he could finish, dunk, whatever. And you had this one guy on an island trying to check him.
Right.
And if you helped fanning
It's
it out,
out. It's out.
and that's exactly how Giannis is playing, and the Bucks are playing when they're at their best. But the difference is that there might be 1 or 2 guys in the history of the NBA who could play this style that what Giannis is doing. The history of the
Yeah,
NBA.
it's incredible. I mean, this is kind of, I think, the thing that when Kevin Garnett first came in the league, we were like, you could do this, and he
Yeah.
never had that about him to play like that.
You
And
said who? Kevin
Giannis,
who?
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think he would have been strong enough.
No, probably not strong, but his handle,
The
his
handle,
length,
yeah.
and his skill. He was much more skilled
And
than
yeah, he could
Giannis.
shoot. He could shoot, but he was much better. He's a better. I think he might have been a better shooter and passer.
Yeah, but he didn't have the mentality.
Yeah,
And that's the thing with Giannis. He got the mentality. Dare
yeah.
Giannis to dunk on you 100 times and see what happens.
He'd be like 99,
Right.
100.
He's a killer. So, and I want to flip it and talk about the Raptors a little bit. I was actually in a chat with the Sim Hangout guys and the Sim Nation guys, and I mentioned this while it was happening. They made Kawhi was on the floor while Giannis was on the bench, and they were up by like 16. And you figure they should go up 20. But you know why that doesn't happen? Because everyone can shoot. So all you need is to have a good shot, not go in. It goes to the other end, they get a 3. Come back the other way. Somebody gets fouled, makes 1 free throw. Goes to the other end, they get a 3. When you have that many shooters, that's a cushion that's different about this era. And this is the part of D'Antoni's vision that is true. If you have enough shooters, you don't need guys who are talented at all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You get this buffer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It increases your margin for error.
Exactly. And the Bucks bench has a large margin of error. You know? They have a very large margin of error. And the mistake that Nick Nurse made, and this was a grave mistake, and again, called it while it was happening. Kawhi's out there getting tired, and y'all lost the lead. Giannis came in the game, it was like 9 points.
Yeah.
And now Kawhi is more tired. And Giannis is rested. GG's, you messed up. Yeah. That was Nick Nurse's fault. Because Kawhi was gassed at the end of the quarter. But playing against the Bucks, he has this feeling of like, well, we kind of need him out there because the Bucks have so many playmakers and shooters coming off the bench. So if the series went long, I wouldn't be surprised. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it was over in 5. Because it wouldn't be the Raptors' fault necessarily. The Bucks could just get hot and smoke you because Giannis is unstoppable. So you just have to eat that.
Yeah, I definitely because it's funny that you said it because I talked to somebody about that, and he had made the mention or the suggestion that that's what he would do. He would just let Giannis get his, and I'm like, okay, I don't know. I don't know because you look up in the third quarter and it's 97-94 Bucks, and you've been letting Giannis get his, and he got three different dudes with 4 fouls on him because they try to guard him and they can't. I don't know. I don't know, bro. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But all right, let's shift gears again. We dabbed a little bit with 2K, but let's talk about it a little bit more in depth. If anybody follows my channel, they know I've been playing a lot of my team. I have easily the best collection I've ever had in the years the game's been out, right? Or the mode's been out.
And somebody recently got a quitality on you.
Yeah, wait, yeah. Oh, you saw that?
I didn't watch the video yet. I haven't got a chance to watch the video, but I
Oh,
saw the title.
yeah, you saw, no, I got a quitality on Mortal Kombat.
Oh, Mortal
Kombat.
Kombat. No,
I didn't know
was
if that
making a
showed
comparison
up.
to
Right.
my team.
I didn't know if it showed up if you look at like somebody like on your friend, like
Oh
how.
no, I can't see that.
Okay, I didn't know if it showed up, but yeah, no, yeah, a cat quit on me in the middle. I mean, if y'all watch that video, it is insane. Like the way my man quit, it was. I never quit. I never quit. Y'all saw I sat there and let Nelson beat me 10 times in a row. I will never ever quit. It does not matter. It does not matter ever. I will never quit. You could get 10, you could win 10 straight matches in Mortal Kombat against me with flawless victories in every single one, and I still would never quit. Just the way I am. But if I was ever going to quit a 2K game, I might have quit on this one. I don't know. I think I was up 29, and it was the end of the third quarter. I ain't gonna spoil it. Y'all watch the video if you haven't seen it. It is hilarious, right? It is absolutely hilarious the way he quit. But yeah, I got a good team. But so my whole purpose for this, the way I did this with my team this year, was I felt like when I covered the mode that I really couldn't speak from the perspective of the fans of the mode. And I always felt like I was like this outsider talking about the mode. So this year I said, you know what? I'm going to put in the work, and I'm going to literally go through everything that they go through. I'm actually going to spend money on packs. Then I'm going to go not spending money on packs. And I'm going to figure out what it is. Like, so when people say it's a spin to win and type of mode, is that true? I'm going to find out, you know? And I did that this year, and I really enjoyed myself. I felt I really enjoy the mode. I think it's really dope. And it's so funny because my son, this is a smart little 13-year-old. I'm telling y'all, he really is. You know what because I would complain to him about the lack of realism in my team. And you know what he told me?
What did he say?
He said, Dad, my team is like professional wrestling. If you start trying to take it too serious, you're going to lose the fun of it. I said, well, then. He was like, you don't ask why Rey Mysterio can beat the Big Show. It's wrestling. And they're going to figure out a way and whatever. So you can't get caught up in the attribute stuff and all that. It's my team, and you choose to exist in it in the world that it is.
Shout outs to Junior.
Yeah. So I was like, boom. That is absolutely what it is. But and with that mentality, I did ultimately begin to get the enjoyment out of it. You know, so now I don't bat an eye when Greg Oden green lights a 3.
Right.
No problem.
Good shot, Greg.
No problem. Great shot, Greg. Good. So you know, but in paying as much attention to it, I have really been able to do the other side of what I want to do, which is identify the problems.
Yeah.
And things that I think need to still be there that aren't there. You know what we should do? We should like pass the mic back and forth on this one.
Okay.
Like I'm gonna name something that I think that it definitely needs. Then you and then we'll go back and forth.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with something really super small. And the only way you know about this is if you really play my team. Why in the world is it that when you go to the auction house and you do a search You cannot filter the search results by stuff that you already have in your collection.
Mm.
What in the world? What? So I search pink diamonds, 50,000 MT or less, or 70,000 MT or less. Why do I have to scroll through 95 different Ben Wallaces? And you already know I got that.
Mm-hmm.
You know I don't want to buy it again. Like, so what are we doing? So that to me is just a really a functionality type of design thing that really needs to be changed, because when you start to play the mode and you going into the auction house and you want to, your time is important to you, because if you got a job or family, you don't have, or school, you don't have all
Mm-hmm.
day to be doing that. So if I'm spending an extra 35 minutes scrolling through dead results, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my first thing.
My first thing would be scrap the playbooks and just give custom playbooks from jump, because the likelihood of you getting a playbook that fits your personnel is infinitesimal. So what you're doing is you're just constantly
Wait a minute.
grinding.
What? Wait a what? What? It's a what? What you say? Is a fun of what?
Infinitesimal.
You know what? Now that was good. I'm not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. If somebody brings out infinitesimal in a my team
In my
conversation,
team discussion.
that is that's a different thing there.
So here's the thing: the joy of unlocking cards is really high. I haven't played that much my team this year. I love triple threat, and the thing that we need the most is going to be my next thing. So you stay off triple threat before I get to my next joy after this. All right. So I'm playing the mode. I'm enjoying the mode, having fun. If I have the joy of unlocking these cards, I don't need the frustration of having a playbook that doesn't serve those cards. So I don't want
But say that
the
again. Say that again. Say that again.
if I have the joy of unlocking cards that I want, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want the frustration of having to use a playbook that doesn't work for those cards.
Makes sense.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I have the 80s Lakers playbook, but I finally got Klay Thompson to complete my Golden State Warriors, I just want to play with my Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to deal with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's plays going
Here you
to
go against old people again.
Kevon Looney. No,
Go
I
against
mean,
old
hey,
people.
easy. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is my favorite center of all time. Easy. I would be more likely to make a historic Lakers team. But for the case of this example, I don't want to have to deal with that offense. I just want to be able to play the way that I want to play with what I have. The hunt should be for the cards. The playbook thing is fatty economy, and I think they need to take it out and just put in custom playbooks.
Yeah, I would agree. I cannot disagree with that. I can in no way, shape, or form disagree with that. My next thing is actually pretty big. So I went from something that was kind of probably a little, a little more trivial to something that I think is actually far more important, that some people might even consider mode breaking. It's very imbalanced. We have an oversaturation of the best cards.
Mm-hmm.
There are way too many pink diamonds, and there are way too many galaxy opals. And while I do subscribe to Portland is up by 15 points. While I do
Okay.
subscribe to um, Junior's concept of not taking it, the ratings and stuff too serious, I do think you could be more impacting with the mode overall if you were to have to be more selected, have a more selecting process, when you're picking who's going to get the Galaxy Opals. There is okay. I'm not hating on James Worthy, but there's nothing. It's nothing cool about a Galaxy Opal James Worthy.
And galactic about big game,
It is.
James.
It's nothing that like dog, like to me, the gemstone should never supersede the player on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. I like that.
You know what I'm saying? So if you get into the point where you're slapping a gemstone on a guy and it doesn't quite, like, every once in a while it works out in a charming way, right? Because I actually think the Pink Diamond Greg Oden is a charming card because it's so crazy, right? It's so crazy that you gave Greg Oden a Pink Diamond. It's almost fun, right? Jimmer Fredette's the same way. That Jimmer Fredette card is high as Gators on the refrigerator. I mean, it is insane, right? It is totally insane. But but it's kind of cool because Jimmer's this character almost.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so is Greg Oden to a degree. You know,
Yeah.
Like, I would totally vibe for a Pink Diamond Kwame Brown. It would crack me up. It would crack me up, and it would be like, yeah, I would love killing people with the Pink Diamond Kwame Brown, because I would love to see people go just nuts every time he did something.
I'm surprised when you accidentally said Kwame Bryant. Kobe didn't come through your window.
He did. Kwame Bryant. You know what? I created my career character named Kwame Bryant.
Kwame Bryant.
Call him the Gray Mamba.
You make videos. He gonna find you. He gonna find you.
The Gray Mamba.
So it's my turn?
Yes.
Okay. This is probably not my number one thing. This is really high in terms of outside of game, like actual game mechanics. In triple threat, we need basic formations, not necessarily plays, basic formations to give that third player an idea of what to do. Because the third player should be, basically either hitting the corner, the top of the key, or cutting to the basket. Now we can make them cut or posting up. Now we can make them cut if we have the ball and they're not in the paint.
Yes.
But if they already in the paint,
I want to leave sometimes.
Right. Like, you got Rex Chapman running into the paint.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you don't.
I'm looking like, it's because it's like, and I'm hoping that Czar didn't have nothing to do with the AI on this particular part of the game. You know, I love you like a play cousin. I don't know why it feels like the AI gets turned off on that part of the game.
I think it actually might, because there is, up until now, to my knowledge, and Czar can correct us on this if he's watching, but I don't think there is a 3v3 AI mode. It's just a chunk of the 5v5.
Gotcha.
So we need a 3v3 AI thing, and it can be really simple.
Yes, it doesn't have to be, because 3-on-3 is a very simple game. And
Absolutely.
And that's actually the part of the charm in it. Even in IRL 3-on-3 basketball, if you I played in 3-on-3 tournaments and all that, it's something about it. It's basketball, but it's a little different. And it's a simplified but really intense type of a thing. And I think that definitely that can happen. But I feel
I got to start a list. Spread formation, number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, double screen.
Yes.
Number 3, off ball screen.
Yes. Oh,
those are the my hair.
If you ran off ball screens on triple threat, people would lose. Like, if you learned how to execute off ball screens in triple threat, you would be among the most elite players on that mode for months before the meta got out. Because it's the spread. Because honestly, right now, spread is the best.
Yeah.
Because if you anywhere at all decent with the dribbler, you can be spread all day.
Right.
I mean, you can do work with the spread, because you're going to end up getting good shots.
Well, this leads me to the other thing. So we should be able to control our help the same way we do in 5v5. And when I say spread, give me a couple of versions, right? Give me 2 on one side, 1 on the corner. Give me 1 at the top of the key, 2 in the corner. Give me 1 at the free throw line, 2 in the corner, right? just as a starter. We
Right.
don't. I'm not asking for the whole to make it super robust, but just some control over our spacing and off-ball actions, so that we can actually play basketball without this AI being in the way. Because
Hmm.
that's what happens to me a lot. Is a lot of in the way AI,
Yeah,
which
definitely.
forces you to play the game worse than you want to.
Yes, yes, yes. I would agree. I would agree. Um, so yeah, so what so we had to think about the auction house, you had playbooks, and then we had balance, and then you had
Triple
the
threat plays.
triple threat, which is still kind of in the same vein, but it's definitely different. No, because no, it's not. It's totally different
Yeah,
because you were talking about triple threat, and the
triple
first thing
threat.
you were talking about was in the 5v5 thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Now you know what? I gotta pick which one that I want because I have quite a few. So if I'm only gonna use one more, if I'm only got one more bullet left in the gun, I want to make sure that I pull out the best bullet. Speaking of that, which is funny, while I scroll through my options, I watched a documentary yesterday on Annie Oakley. And you ever watch something and you cannot believe you watched the whole thing or listen to the whole thing?
Uh-huh.
I got caught up learning about Annie Oakley last night. It was ridiculous.
That's how
But
I learned
anyway,
music theory.
yeah, it's crazy
I
how
just
that
started
works.
listening to music theory videos on YouTube, and it just clicked.
Yeah, it was tripped out. So like I could tell you a bunch of useless information about Annie Oakley right now, and
About
it
this
wouldn't
lady,
and
but
it
go ahead.
wouldn't and it wouldn't earn me any money. But so, but okay, I got it. I know what I want. I know what I want out. And this is very simple. And I should get a bunch of hallelujahs from the chat on this. Can we remove contracts and injury cards, please?
You
Please.
don't gotta wait for the chat. Hallelujah, right here from your
Please.
co-host.
Please.
Hallelujah.
It's
Get them out.
it is
Fatty economy.
so pointless, bro.
Yeah, fatty
I
economy.
have a much better concept that they could do that's still contract related, but it would add some strategy to the whole thing and skill, and it would bring in some franchise mode concepts, right? Every single my team unlimited, or if they bring back salary cap or whatever, that one of those type of modes, every one of those games. He said Annie Oakley pink diamond card coming next. If you bring back if you bring that mode back, every single 5v5 game or a triple threat game, you should be at you when you're playing my team, you should be playing your own personal season. And a season should be like 18 to 24 contest, right? So when I sign a player, I literally can give this player a 5-7 year deal, a 9-10 year deal. And so I literally give them this contract at the beginning of this thing. So now when I give you a 7 year deal, that essentially equates to, if we're talking about making it 12 games as a season, then that
hmm
essentially equates to, what is that, 84 games,
hmm
right? That I think that's right. I don't know. But that's what it breaks down to. It makes it cooler because now I'm really operating my team like an actual franchise. You know what I mean? And I'm giving guys contracts. If you have some sort of salary cap there, like if you have a mode that's separate like that, then that the function's a little bit different. And so I have to kind of gauge that. And then these injury cards, dude. I've played a lot of my team. I have never had an injury.
I've never seen an injury. I've never seen a video of an injury. To go with your idea about the contracts, though, I would like to see them just have fatigue. And I would even say, for starters, just have the card have to rest for a game or two. 2 games, you get your fatigue pack. You get your fatigue back. But if you want people taking a break off of using the same card over and over, just have the card fatigue. And they could keep using a card that has no turbo if they want to. But if you want to freshen that card up, switch them out for somebody else. And let's start with that concept so people have to keep playing and building their decks and rebuilding their decks and cycling things through.
Yeah, yeah. So at first I always had that concept, right?
hmm
But I
Although I
said,
do like your idea of running it like a franchise.
yeah,
I should
I
say
think
that. That's a good
I
idea.
I think that would be dope, man, because we were talking about that another episode. Well, how can you kind of cross pollinate the
Integrate,
different
yeah.
modes? And I think that that is absolutely a way to do it. But I always had that concept about the contracts, but I was a little hesitant to really come hard with it because I said, well, you know what? Maybe I just haven't played the mode enough. Maybe once I play it, I'll understand. I understand even less now. Why there is there is nothing that should ever be in your game that is a drag to do.
100% agree. Everything should be fun.
Yes. There's nothing that should ever be in your game where when it comes time to do it, you're like, ugh. You
Yeah.
know, and that's what contracts are. You
Mm-hmm.
get ready to
Mm-hmm.
play your game, this big red thing comes across the thing
And you
out of
looking for which player,
come
which
on,
player in this
man.
lineup ran out of
This
contract.
is stupid,
That's
dude.
silly. Yeah.
This is silly. Like it would feel so much better is if it's like, okay, y'all, I'm at the end of my season. I got to make some decisions about who I want to bring back, who I don't need anymore. It's all about who I've been acquiring. I mean, I tend to think of things from a YouTube standpoint, which I know only represents a small percentage of the gaming of the games community. But I started thinking about how dope a YouTube series could be if that
Yeah.
was in place. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like, okay, guys, it's my team off season number one. It's time for me to make some tough decisions. This guy is a pink diamond, so if I'm bringing him back, it's gonna cost me blah 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 amount, and I got to decide if I want to sign him to or whatever. Because even though he's a 97, like my Magic Johnson pink diamond, I suck with him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm terrible with him. He's a 97 pink diamond, but I barely play him because I don't do well with him at all. So I probably wouldn't bring him back
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I don't get the benefit of having a pink diamond because I can't get him to play to that level. So, but then like my Vince Carter, that's my best card overall because I have his jump shot down.
Mm.
And the
You
only
must
thing
not have had it down the night you got him, because I saw that
oh
game.
yeah, I sucked that night. But you know what though? I'm gonna tell y'all something. And this is crazy for a YouTuber, right? I am terrible playing while the game is being recorded live. I'm just not I'm not as good. Like y'all think I'm lying. I swear y'all think I'm lying. But I will go 2 days in a row without losing a triple threat game until I flip the camera on
Mm.
and have to talk and play at the same time.
Mm.
I'm talking about blowing people out like they don't even supposed to be playing with me. And I'm talking about like I'll beat a dude. I don't have any Galaxy Opals, but I'll beat a guy that's got 2 Galaxy Opals and a pink diamond, and I'll beat him 21-14.
I've always heard legends of the Demon Lord Excusor, Lord of Reasons. I never thought I'd get to meet him in person.
I'm telling you.
Excusor
And
in the flesh.
1989 just said, so that's why we don't get any more live streams. No, not exactly. But the reason why I started to try to focus a little bit more on franchise mode.
Mm-hmm.
So that idea I just gave y'all about my team doing it as a franchise, like flipping that, if they don't do it themselves, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just gonna
Just do the
create that
storyline. Yeah,
and just do that with my own because I think that would be dope. So but we'll see.
now, that was a good 5 though. That was a
Yeah.
good. We're gonna come back to 2K. We're gonna be doing a lot of 2K content leading up to 2K20 as that comes out. We want to start, reforming 2K19 on the way into 2K20, and we'll be reacting to news and all that stuff. So there's gonna be a lot of 2K right here.
Yeah, and I think that approach that we just did with my team is probably a good approach to do with just about every mode.
Yeah.
Well, we might actually end up having to do more than 5 depending on the mode.
Oh yeah.
There really isn't a whole bunch wrong with my team. Not a whole bunch. There's some things that are big, but there's not to me.
Well, I think my team exposes the worst of the gameplay in 2K.
Yo, it is the cheesiest mode in the game.
Yeah, that's the issue.
It definitely is the cheesiest mode in the game, because they throw that whole they throw realism out the window.
Well, it's not just the realism though. Part of it goes to the mechanics of the game. But we can cover that. We'll cover that next week because I got a lot to say about it.
Okay. All right. So somebody just kind of somewhere brought it up, but we're about to we're about to talk about something that they just mentioned. Deontay Wilder, Dominic Brazil. The fight is coming up on Saturday. Uh, Deontay's heavily favored to win the fight. I would be really surprised if he didn't. It is heavyweight boxing, so it only takes one.
Hmm.
But and Dominic Brazil's a big guy. But that's not really what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the fact that let me just, for anybody that doesn't know this, I've been covering combat sports for about a decade. I've been watching the first fight I ever watched live, and I've been hooked ever since. Was John the Beast Mugabe against Marvin Hagler, and I believe it was in 1981, 82. First fight I ever watched, and I was locked in from ever since. I've been locked in ever since. So I'm not new to combat sports. So understand that. Let me preface what I'm about to say with that. But Deontay Wilder has taken to a habit that really puts me off, and it is talking up death in the ring. And he has literally said on more than one occasion, I think we're talking about three public occasions now, that he wants to kill a man in the ring. His exact words is, I want a body on my record. And he, said 2 days ago that Dominic Brazil's life is literally at stake, right? Now, a lot of people say, man, you say different things when you're hyping the fight. It is what it is. It's not that whatever. And for the most part, I do agree with that, right? For the most part, there's a couple exceptions. I think we should leave people's families out of situations. Like, I could trash talk a fighter without, on a dude I'm about to fight, without talking about his wife and his mama and his kids. Like, I don't need to do that, right? I think that's taking it to a different level. And I don't think you necessarily need that to sell it. Um, and then race stuff and discrimination type stuff, like that kind of stuff, to me, is when you're going beyond the realm of sports, right? The other thing is talking about killing somebody. And for me, having knowing what I know about the sport, having been around it the way I've been around it, having actually seen people die in the ring or die from things that have happened in the ring. A very, very, very close friend of mine, colleague, his name is Peter Kahn. He was involved in a fight where a guy died in the dressing room after collapsed and died after he left the ring. And he used to work for Don King. He was a boxer himself. He currently is a manager for several fighters, managers George Kambosos Jr., Saul Rodriguez. He's the manager of Xander Zayas, who is now the youngest fighter ever signed the Top Rank. He's going to make his professional debut in September. He's 16 years old. He's a beast. So this dude is a boxing guy, right? But he told me that, like, that is a moment when he really questioned whether or not this is what he should be doing, because it was that impacting to be around that. And it wasn't even his fighter. His fighter had knocked this guy out, and this is what happened, right? So that is nothing. Clearly, it's nothing to play with, right?
Hmm.
And because of the possibility that that could actually happen,
Yeah.
is the reason why that is so uncomfortable. And here's the question I would love to ask Deontay. And as a matter of fact, I may very well get an opportunity to ask him this, because he's far from off limits for me to be able to interview. Uh, I Several colleagues I know are connected to him, and I've had the opportunity. Just things haven't lined up properly for me to speak to him yet. But if and when I do, I would love to ask him: are you really truly prepared to be the villain that you're setting yourself up to be? Because not everybody can be the villain. Some people think they can, and they think they want that smoke until it comes. Adrian Broner is a perfect example. And so for me, man, I that is very off-putting to me. I don't know how you feel
Well,
about
for this situation specifically, Deontay Wilder's case on this that he's stating is there was an altercation with his
Mm,
brother,
yes.
right? And allegedly his brother knocked the guy out, or flattened him or whatever. And there was a thing with their families and so on and so forth. And that after the fact, that Wilder's family members received death threats.
Hmm.
And that's why he's speaking the way he's speaking now. And that he's not saying it literally, but he does want to cause some serious damage to the guy. He did specify what he meant by catch a body. He did say, I want to rearrange his face. I want him to be unrecognizable. I want to put a real hurt on him. And in that specification, it was pretty clear that he didn't mean he actually wanted to kill him. I
Well,
do think that can be a vernacular sometimes,
well,
or an
you know what?
exaggeration.
If that was the only time that he said it, that
Yeah.
would be different. But the first time that I heard him say it was on an episode of The Breakfast Club with Charlemagne.
Hmm.
And Charlemagne, you know Charlemagne.
Yeah.
He made him.
Literally, I actually did a New Year's comic with Charlemagne for Marvel.
Okay, awesome. He made him clarify what he meant. And he said, dude, you talking about you really want to kill a guy? He said, yeah, yes, I want that on my record. I want a body on my record. And this was way before the Brazil fight. This interview took place in March of last year, right? And it had nothing to do with Dominic Brazil at all.
Now,
So
so here's my question to you, though.
mhm,
So he's saying that, and he's selling his fights, he's talking things up, because that's a dramatic thing to say,
it
right?
is. It is.
Now, a guy who we actually has some, out of the ring problems with,
Hmm.
he has clarified that he wants to cause damage, not kill the guy.
Hmm. So
D-
here's the thing. I know that Deontay really doesn't want to kill this guy. I know he
okay.
does because Deontay badly injured Archer Spilka. Bad, like, and so many people are. So I put the link to his interview with Charlemagne in the chat, but many people remember the first time him and Tyson Fury ever came face to face. Tyson Fury hopped into the ring and he got all in Deontay's face, and you could visibly see Deontay was pissed. Like this was not like he's like it was like one of them things where you're putting on a show, but I ain't putting on no show right now. The
Hmm.
reason why Deontay was in that mood was because he was concerned because he had
Right.
just badly hurt Archer Spilka, right?
Hmm.
And because it was one of those knockouts where when you see the guy fall, you're like, oh,
Hmm. Something might be wrong. Yeah.
something might be wrong, and that's even more so why I have a problem with him saying it.
Because you don't feel like he really means it.
Because you don't mean that.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, I'm of both minds with this. See, with UFC, because there's an organization,
Hmm.
and because of the way their training camps are organized,
Hmm.
I think there's actually more martial arts honor in the UFC,
100%.
right? So I think there's an obligation to. So my view of competition is cooperative growth, right?
Hmm.
So I don't view competition as war. It's not war.
It's
You're not
not, bro.
killing
It's
your opponent,
not.
because if you kill your opponent, eventually you run out of opponents and there's no more competition. You defeat
Hmm.
your opponent, they get stronger, they come back and push you to be stronger. That's for the greater good. That's what makes competition beautiful. And in the UFC, I think that spirit is very, very much alive and well. Even within the trash talk, there's a line you don't cross, which is why people get so mad when Conor McGregor doesn't get punished for crossing that line, because he's supposed to be protecting his opponent's trainers and camp and all that stuff, not throwing stuff into there and causing all kinds of problems and stuff like that with the bus and things like that. So
Hmm.
but the trash talk is understood, but it's supposed to stop at trash talk. With boxing, because boxing is individual prize fighting on a different level, they don't have that same relationship. I think they're more prone to hyperbole, especially as boxing is not the number one, you know, overall combat sport anymore. I think individual fights might peak higher than individual fights, but UFC is literally on ESPN every weekend, right? And people are watching that all the time at a large level. Whereas with boxing, there's a few individuals, but there's no organization. Yeah, UFC is a
That's the
league,
big thing.
right?
That's a separation there. The viewership numbers are actually um they're not fantastic for UFC on ESPN right now. They're not fantastic.
Well,
They started off
the events haven't been fantastic. I think that's the key. They've been pretty bad for
they started off hot,
4 weeks.
but you know, people love new
Yeah,
stuff.
since was it Adesanya Gastelum? I think it's all been stinkers since then.
It's been bad. It's been pretty bad. From well, no, no.
We had one more after that.
Yeah, Andrade Namajunas, that card, that fight was fantastic. You know, it was. I mean, nothing happened that I didn't think was gonna happen, but it was that was memorable.
It
I
was
mean,
memorable.
yeah,
I thought that night was a whole night of people running, snatching, defeat from the jaws of victory, and a lot of people beating themselves. So I don't enjoy that.
Andrade was getting pieced up from the outside, but towards the end of the first round, I knew, and I told Junior, I said Rose can't do this for 5 rounds. I said
See, but she
because
should be going for that Kimura though.
but no, but that was she couldn't stop the power slam. And so they trained to, when she goes for the power slam, threaten the submission. And it worked the first time. But the second time, when Andrade lifted her, she made an adjustment in the way that she dropped, because she adjusted her on her shoulders as opposed to lift slam. She lifted
So
her,
yeah.
got the arm out, and then dropped.
So this is the thing, and this is to help you in fighting games. When you're winning, just keep winning. This is why I defend Tyron Woodley against Dana White, always coming after him for his quote unquote conservative fights.
Mm-hmm.
And we've heard this expression: it's on the person losing the fight to be the aggressor.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for that is if you are winning, the clock is your friend, do nothing. And either your opponent sits there and takes that L, or they expose themselves to danger. And
Mm-hmm.
if they're able to skillfully expose themselves to danger and force you to fight, good on them, we're back in a fight. But make them climb that hill.
And
I felt like Rose did not play the safe, I done pieced you up for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, right? Tagged you. I mean, she tagged that girl up.
mm-hmm.
Why are you still fighting so hard?
You know,
Chill out.
honestly,
Like,
I don't think she was. I think she did stick to the game plan. But here's the thing: it was two factors: the leg kicks. The leg kicks to Rose's left leg began to have an impact. And there was nothing really that she could do with that, because she wanted to establish the jab. She wanted to box. That was the right game plan. That's how she was piecing her up. But in that stance, she was exposing that leg kick. And then Andrade's counter to that was, I'm going to eat these shots and my face is going to get marked up, but I'm not going to stop coming. And I'm going to kick that front leg, and I'm
so
gambling
are you
that,
saying Rose couldn't have fought smarter?
honestly, here's the thing: she got hurt at the end of the first round.
Mm-hmm.
She got hurt from leg kicks, and she got hurt from a left hook to the body. She got bop, bop, bop on the leg. If you look at her leg was badly bruised. Now, true enough, she's Sheamus's complexion, so she's pale, so she's gonna mark up easy, right?
Right.
But the leg was hurt, right? And then I don't know if you saw this. There was a left hook to the body in the last 30 seconds that caused this.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was, she was jabbing and she was moving and she was staying on the spots, bop, bop, and moving the same way. But Andrade had become somewhat, she'd gotten used to the shots, and the punches weren't necessarily hurting anymore. They were cutting and stinging, but they weren't stopping her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And bop, the right hand would come, boom, it would stop. But she was coming forward and she was starting to do more head movement, and then she dipped and slipped one of the jabs, bang, left hook to the body, and it caused a The other thing is this, which this is a total intangible and a total mental thing. Rose has some emotional things, right?
Yeah.
And this is, for her to get to where she is a marvel in itself for what she has been through in her life, right? I love Rose Namajunas. Well, let me just say, Rose Namajunas is fantastic. She is a fantastic athlete. She's a fantastic martial artist. You know, just sweet as can be. Just a sweet person, right? And just a beast. And just always just a beast. But I don't. I know. I was gonna say I don't think. I know she does not love fighting.
Yeah.
She's just good at it, right? And when you're that way, and you're fighting somebody who is determined and physically skilled, and especially if that physical skill is power, that's tough because that
I agree,
pressure.
it's tough, and I don't want to take anything away from Andrade. I just thought Rose could have fought a smarter fight
Yeah,
later on in the match.
yeah. Mook Allen says Rose looks like a lead character in an action movie. Absolutely, she could be Mila Jovovich in
Yeah.
Resident Evil in a second. And
Hmm.
on the real, she's maybe a little prettier than Mila Jovovich because Rose is a cutie pie. So
Yeah.
it's like it's like, man, like I literally hated to see her dropped on the side of her head. Like I was like, oh no, not on the head. Like, oh no, not on the side of the head. Because she missed a year because of a neck injury.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so immediately when I saw that, I'm like, oh no, no, no. You know what I mean? So I was happy to see her get up, but she was very revealing in her post-fight interview.
Hmm.
She said, this was a big weight off of me.
Yeah. Relief. That's not a good sign going
Now,
forward.
man.
So
Now,
I'm
bro.
kind of glad that it turned out the way it turned out. It's probably better for her and the division and everything.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in that actual fight, I would have enjoyed the fight more if I felt that she was being really smart and clever, and that Andrade overcame that. I didn't think she put that wall up.
I think she did, man. I really do, because she knew from a physical, no straw weight can match Andrade physically. None of them
Hmm.
can. None of them can. And so to beat her, you have to beat her from the outside. You have to then be able to stuff her takedowns because she's tough. So she generally is going to eat some of those strikes on the way in, and she's still going to be able to get that engagement on the cage. But you got to force the head down. You got to get the legs wide to be able to stop that takedown to keep her from clenching her hands together. Rose is not super strong, right? Not super strong. And when Jessica got on one hand, I do understand what you're saying. You're saying you're accepting the beginning of the takedown concept by going for the Kimura, right? So you're accepting it, rather than fighting the hands or forcing the
Even
head
the
down.
overall level of, and I know this is not the most exciting thing, but bicycling, creating distance, forcing a little chase, because she had such a striking advantage,
Mhm.
I think that could have been better.
But I thought she
You know,
did that though. I thought
I don't think she
all of
did it.
those things you said, I thought she did that.
Yeah, I don't think she did it good enough. I
Yeah,
thought she accepted too much scrap.
yeah, I
I
thought
thought
she,
she accepted too much smoke once she started. Once she was clearly winning.
because the thing with that fight, and this goes even outside of MMA. This is any combat sport. If your vehicle to victory is striking from a distance without one punch or one strike KO ability, and you're going to have to stop your opponent due to cumulative punishment, which is pretty much what Rose was going to have to do with
Hmm.
Andrade. It becomes a war of attrition because it takes a lot. Most fighters can't fight moving backwards. That was part of what made Muhammad Ali so great, because he can box
Hmm.
moving backwards. It takes a lot of energy to fight effectively on the move, and it takes a lot of stamina and will to continue to do that when you got this monster coming at you who won't stop, and you're hitting them or him or her, and they
Hmm.
still won't stop. And I think that she got broken. I think she got broken because I think she felt that she had landed enough shots from distance to the point where this should be over by now. I have clearly outstruck her. I've
And
clearly
if that's the case, that still goes in line with what I'm saying,
Mhm.
where you weren't mentally strong enough in the octagon.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that's what
I 100% believe
right.
that. I
And
think
that's
he
what I'm saying. It wasn't she. I didn't think that she was 100% outfought by the opponent. Like that was her best fight, and the opponent beat her best fight. I felt she cooperated a little bit, and I don't like seeing fighters cooperate a little bit. It's one thing if your fight style is high risk and you go for the risk and it doesn't pay off. It's another thing when you know this is an exaggerated version when you're Michael Venom Page and you jump into the
oh
KO screen.
oh my God, man. Man, we was
But
hurt.
we
We
done
was
started
hurt that
talking
night.
MMA. We got to get to Ask Us, bro. But
Yeah,
that was
we were
pretty funny. If y'all haven't seen that Michael Venom Page thing, that is right
man.
out the book of Tekken right there.
That was
Has grand finals at
and
Evo.
he's my guy too, right? And that the way that went down, I'm gonna see if I can throw the link into the description into the chat for y'all. Yeah, yeah. It was nasty. It was absolutely
Yeah.
nasty. But let's get to Ask Us, bro. All right. So guys, I didn't say this when I asked for the questions originally, but we are gonna have to probably limit it to like, excuse me, to like 5 of them. So yeah, so just knowing that we'll try to get to what we have. All right, but I have one from 1989, and he says, "Do you believe Kevin Durant sitting out is more about his next team than actually being hurt?" So we did kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. But I
Um,
think it's 100% about him not being hurt. I think he wants to play and he can't play.
yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, honestly, and I don't blame him for it being a little bit of both.
So you think he could play right now?
No. I don't think that. I think that were he in a different contract space, it would take less for him to play.
Yeah, but I don't think well, if we get to that point, I would agree with you. But right now, I do not think he is able to play
I
because
don't
the
either.
doctors,
Yeah, I
the
don't
Golden
either.
State Warriors
Yeah,
doctors literally do not have a timetable.
yeah, I
That
don't
means it's
either.
not up to him.
I
He ain't just sitting out because he was signed to the Knicks.
which no, you're no, so in you're definitely answering the question more specifically to the way it was asked, because his
Hmm.
question did say, is he sitting out because of his next team or being hurt? So what you're saying, yes, is right. I do believe right now he's out literally because he has no other choice because he can't play.
Right. You're saying
But
if he had a choice, he
I
might.
think that it would, if he's in year 2 of a 5-year deal, I think that he tries to play at 85, 90%. But
I'm very hesitant to call out someone's character like that
but
because
see,
I do think
I don't think that for me, that's
well
not a
he's
character.
being paid by the Golden State Warriors to play and help them win the championship.
He is, but you don't have to play hurt.
If you can play, you can play.
Yeah, I don't know.
Everybody hurt at this point in the season. So if
Yeah,
you can play and you don't play, that is a low integrity move.
I see.
They
I don't.
paying you a lot of money and you
I
signed a contract and you train with these guys and you agreed to compete. And if you think you're genuinely going to get hurt, if it's a Kawhi thing where you're like, technically I can play, but I don't feel like myself. I feel like my legs still hurt. I'm not right. Yeah, you're not right. You're not right. But if you're right and you just like, yeah, but what if? Then no, that's a sucker move. And I don't think Kevin Durant is that kind of guy.
yeah. I see. So for me, if you are 85, 90%, and you feel like there is an opportunity or chance for an overcompensation injury, and you like, you know what, I could play, and if in a different situation, I would just go ahead and risk it. But in this situation, there's too much at risk, and I'm not going to play. I mean, because teams make that decision oftentimes for players. You know, if there's a player, say for instance, there's a guy who's a young player and he's got a nagging injury and he's in the first year of of a contract, right? Or early, second year or whatever, and he's moving, and they're in this point at the season where they're not going to make it. They're
Yeah,
out
but
of
just the
it.
finals.
Yeah, but it's still about making a decision based off of what's best for you, and because the team is going to make a decision based off what's best for them, and I think the player has to do the same thing.
Yeah, I agree with you when the player is not under contract to play.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess my thing is you're
And when
under
it comes to
contract.
free agency, I'm with you. You know.
But I mean, you're under contract to play when you are healthy enough to
Yeah,
play,
but
and
80, 85, 90% is healthy by NBA standards, especially in
it
the playoffs.
depending on who you are, because some people may not. If we want to talk about contracts, then you have to start going into like black and white stuff, right? So if if there's something in my contract that says if the doctor says da 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 da, da then I should be
But
playing.
and this is what we're talking about. If the doctor says cleared to play, and you say nah, free agency is coming up,
Ah,
that's a different thing,
but
man.
but think about this. Doctor said clear to play with Kawhi too, but he was wrong.
Again, if you think the doctor's wrong, I'm
Hmm.
with you. You're
Okay.
saying if he's like, I'm good to play, but I might get hurt. So no, that's where I disagree. So I'm saying because Kawhi was clearly injured.
Hmm.
He got a bad diagnosis. We're not talking about a bad diagnosis. We're talking about, yeah, my leg feels pretty good. How's my leg? Doctor says clear to play. Is it perfect? It's still a little sore. Okay, see you on court. Nah, but free agency though.
I
I'm
don't
not cool.
know.
I'm not with it. I'm not with
I
it.
don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I gotta
I
do what's
can't wait for him to get off the Warriors, but I ain't with it.
I gotta do what's best for me, man. And I don't know. I think I might go a different direction, but I don't blame. I see the point on both sides for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the next question, let's jump to Mook Allen. We'll come back to 1989. Mook Allen says, should the Suns try and trade their six pick for an established point guard like Mike Conley, or take the best available point guard, perhaps Darius Garland? Um, I'll answer it first. If it's me, there's no way in the world I want Mike Conley Jr. if I'm the Phoenix Suns. That's a perfect example of putting somebody someplace that doesn't match where they are in their career. Mike Conley is a veteran that would be in a win now type of a mode or situation. That's where he is. He's got the big contract already. The only thing he really hasn't done in his NBA career is win a title or be on a team that he's really pushing for. You put him in Phoenix, you're already knowing, because he's not the type of difference maker that is going to immediately make them I mean, I don't even think you could put Kevin Durant on Phoenix and they're automatically a championship team. They don't have, besides Durant and Booker and Aiton, the rest of that stuff is shaky. You know what I mean? So I don't. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
I would not take.
they need to pick if they're going for point guards, they need to pick up a Moutier who's developed into a nice solid guard. They just need a solid guard to hold down the fort if they're not going to draft a point guard. If they trade that draft pick, it should either be to trade up to get a guy that they don't think they can get,
Hmm.
or to get a young player from a team that isn't going to be able to use that asset. You know, so if they were to trade that pick to Boston for like Jalen Brown and Terry Rozier, I'd be like, oh yeah, I can see that because you filled out your roster, you got some professionals on that team, and that if they play well, you might have a chance of keeping Devin Booker, which I think is the priority.
Hmm.
Is you want to turn into something that when Devin Booker's contract comes up, you have a good chance of signing him.
Hmm.
But as it is right now, in the case of Mike Conley, no, you cannot put 30 million. He's making $60 million over
Hmm.
the next 2 years
Yeah.
to be Mike Conley.
Yeah.
Nobody
That's not
want Mike Conley for $60 million.
nobody. No, nobody. Not even the people from his old neighborhood.
Not even Mrs. Conley.
No. Nobody want it. So
Right.
yeah, no, I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't do that. Yeah, I think, and I don't have any inside information of this. This is just what I think. I think the Suns are who gave Darius Garland his promise.
Yeah, I think so too. That seems to be the indication. I've heard that rumor from a couple of places.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I just feel that this it makes
Hmm.
sense if you just look at it. You know what I mean? It just makes sense. So, all right, next question comes from Dope D. Dope D, you know what? I know you're probably in this chat and maybe you use a different name in on YouTube. So, chime in if you're Dope D. That's he's a long been riding with me for a long time. So I want to know, some of y'all got different names in on YouTube than you got on Twitter. But Dope D says, what did you say, Dope D? You said, why do you guys think 2K removes fan favorite features and modes from the game? instead of leaving them in and building upon them, like the Jordan Challenge, standalone All-Star Weekend mode, etc.
I can
Um,
answer this.
yeah, we're probably gonna say the same thing. Go ahead.
Okay, so and this is pretty much directly from the source.
Hmm.
Some features, first of all, sometimes it's a matter of space.
Hmm.
Just they start with a blank slate every year, and when they bring in new features, they don't have an infinite capacity for putting things
They
into
don't,
the game.
and
Right?
people
They
think
can't.
that. People think that,
Right?
but
They
that's
can't
not the
send you
case.
an 800 gig file of everything that's ever been in 2K.
Hmm.
So there is a maximum capacity for the actual game file. That's number one. Number two, certain features need to be updated because of other updates in the game.
Hmm.
So a good example is, say, off-ball features. If the motion system gets updated, you literally can't do off-ball movement the same anymore. You have to reintegrate that into the new motion system, right? So sometimes things get updated under the hood that don't allow old things to be compatible with new things. So I think those are the two primary reasons. It's space. It's sometimes it's time to update that thing, and sometimes it's whether or not that thing is compatible with other new stuff.
Yes, yes, pretty much exactly what I was going to say. And I think another thing of it is, which I think is kind of what you're alluding to. It's like resources, right? So
Yeah,
the game has to be done on a certain time frame, right? And they can't do a direct port over from Jordan Challenge last year and put the same exact Jordan Challenge in. And those guys are working on the incredibly shrinking development cycle pretty much every single year, right? So if you got to restructure the movement system, restructure AI to a degree, work on a bunch of different stuff that's coming into my team, do some different stuff that's going in the neighborhood, add some features into my league, da 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 da, all of that kind of stuff, right? You then they go to analytics a lot, and they say which modes are being played the most because they have the data to see which modes are being played the most. And if this mode that you love is not being played a lot, then it's going to dip on the priority list of what they're going to deal with. And that happens a lot. That's why I try to tell people, like, and people think like this dude told me I was selling out when I said this once, but I'm not. I'm being honest based off information that's been given to me, right? If us franchise mode guys, my GM, my league guys, really truly saw, not me, because I know, because I've been told, but if some of the people in the general community were shown the analytics for my GM and my league in comparison to the other modes, I think that most of us would go, I'm sorry, I won't say anything else. I'm just happy you keep doing it. I'm just happy you just keep doing it. It's really, it makes you feel bad, honestly. But you can't get mad at 2K because it's that they're not making the numbers. It's this is literally who's playing and who's playing what.
and keep in mind that's a group of super talented people working, 10 to 14 hours a day for weeks and weeks on end, who could also be fixing something else in the game, that are working on those modes. So it's a confluence of all of those varying factors.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And as dope as the Jordan challenge was, I mean, I'm telling y'all, I love that mode. It was fan freaking tastic. And the NBA's greatest that followed that. Like it was literally like an interactive basketball encyclopedia. It was dope. I mean, then they using filters when you play with the old teams, just in black and white.
Yeah,
It
that was
was
great.
fire, right? But I don't know that many people that's not in my age group that were playing that. I really don't. And a lot of times, I think Books, you may have said this before. I know I've said it. We tend to think everybody, and this isn't just us. This is everybody seems to do that, right? Everybody seems to believe that their mode is bigger than it actually is.
Yeah.
Like the pro am guys, the 2K league guys, they literally think like that's the whole game. I'm like, do you guys realize y'all are about 40,000 strong? Maybe, maybe, maybe 20, right? The game sold 10 million copies, bro. If it's not my career and it's not my team and it's not Park, you're not a big chunk.
You lucky to be here.
You're not a big chunk. You know,
The difference with that though is, and this goes back to what we were saying before, Pro Am is an integrated game mode
mhm.
because you almost can't play Pro Am without playing My Career and for other people Park.
Yes, yes.
My League and these Jordan moments and stuff are
Total
isolated.
separate,
It's
isolated.
on an island. And this
Hmm.
is why I'm saying more integration
More
will
integration
benefit everybody else. What's
benefits
our next
everybody.
question?
Keep people, you keeping jobs alive. You know what I'm saying? Essentially,
Mm-hmm.
you are, because the my league guy, you know what I'm saying? He better get another skill because it's
Well,
gonna go down.
and that's the point, is that he has another skill.
Yes,
And at any moment, they could be applying that skill to the modes that make money.
right. Because and the my this one of the senior devs out there, and he is so talented, such a cool dude, just awesome guy. Eric Benish, he is the heartbeat behind my GM in my league. But you want to know why my team? One of the reasons why my team was drastically improved. No, and this is definitely a shout out to the entire team. But Benish is a heck of a leader, and you could feel his influence on my team.
Mm-hmm.
You could. So it definitely happened. So all right, Mook Allen says, what do you think about the idea of letting you pick what difficulty you want to play online in 2K?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Nope. I think the online difficulty has to be according to the mode because every mode has a different power level,
Hmm.
if you will. So, so for instance, Pro Am, Team Pro Am, you
Hmm.
should expect people with highly rated characters to be in that mode.
Hmm.
So it has to be regulated differently than say the park, where you might see a level 75 versus a level 86,
Yeah.
where their badges ain't really up. That's designed to be a more casual mode, or the rec center where people take new characters into the rec center. So it makes sense for the park to be on All Star, the rec center to be on Superstar, and the Pro Am Team Pro Am to be on Hall of Fame. Not that those are the difficulty levels. That's what I think makes sense, but
Yeah.
that's whatever the sliders are. It's probably more like Pro, All Star, and Superstar, but that they should be a level apart from each other, regulated according to what the mode demands.
I would agree.
Yeah,
100% agree. I
and my
don't
team
think,
should be on Hall of Fame.
yeah. Ooh. Yeah. You know what? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
it
everybody got a freaking Galaxy Open with a pink diamond. Why
yeah,
not?
Hall of Fame. You got knock them ratings down, all of them.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
this keep it a basketball game,
I definitely agree with that. That's yeah.
or at
I
least
definitely
once you get to a certain level, it should
yes. Yeah.
switch over to Hall
Yeah.
of Fame.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it should be, you should be on difficulty tiers,
Yeah,
you know. Uh yeah, I
but no,
wouldn't.
you don't get to choose because it's competition.
Yes, you don't get to
Only with
choose.
your friend. I will say this: I think your my court should be full sized so that you can play with your friends in all of the game modes from 1v1 up to 5v5, and you
Hmm.
should be able to choose the difficulty in those custom games.
Hmm. I think
But
Mook Allen meant play now online. I think that's what he
no, no, no,
was.
no, no, no. You
Yeah,
eat what you are served.
yeah. I like a regulated
Yeah.
difficulty across the thing. That's what I kind of like that too. All right, last question, and this one we're going back to 1989. It's a combat sports related thing. He says thoughts on the proposal by the WBC to have 5 judges during major title fights. Um, I don't have a problem with that, but I don't think that solves the issue of inexplicable judges scorecards as much as open scoring does.
I'm with
Uh,
you.
uh
I don't
yeah,
care how many judges you have if they all crooked.
yeah.
So
If I feel like open scoring is the thing. I think open scoring is represents immediate accountability for somebody who is putting in a ridiculous scorecard. And I also think that it removes any excuse that a fighter can have saying he thought he was up, or she thought she was up. You will not be, if your trainer can add, where you are going
and
into the
I'm
12th
I'm
round.
even for having a private open scoring. Like I don't know
Mm.
if they do it like
Yeah,
that,
it
where
doesn't have to be in the. It doesn't have to be in
like we don't have to know, but there should be several trusted arbiters who are observing the live scoring results, and the very second the fight is over, they should go live.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like the very second. There should
yeah,
not be time to put in some funky math.
yeah. Because whenever I see this, Michael Buffer is waiting on the scorecards. Michael, whenever I start seeing that, everybody starts getting nervous.
Right, right,
Everybody's like, okay, what they cooking? What they
right.
cooking? What? Because the first thing you expect to hear after that is we have a split decision.
Yeah.
You be like, oh God, here we go. Here we
Yeah,
go.
I'm 100% with you. I don't want the fighters or the corners thinking about the score as they're fighting, outside of what they measure themselves. But I would like for there to be live scoring with an arbiter and instantaneous reporting of those results the moment the bell is rung.
Because there's no reason why it should take a long time. This is not
What you doing? What you doing
this is
besides
not
cheating?
this is not 1957.
Besides calling your bookie.
Right. This is not 1957. There's no reason it should take a
Right.
long time to get a score. I want to tell y'all and we're gonna wrap it up here. Um, the funniest non-funny thing that I ever seen in boxing. And this is some hardcore boxing stuff. So only the hardcore boxing people in the chat are gonna get what I'm saying. Maybe Sean Singletary, Blake Bod, a couple other people were really, really into it, right? Two great fighters, Hall of Fame guys, one of the greatest ever, two of the greatest ever, Aaron Pryor and Alexis Arguello, right? You want to see some amazing fights? Look at, I think there were two fights. Well, Aaron Pryor was one of the first dudes that I ever saw in combat sports, like get in trouble for some sort of banned substance or there being a question as to what he was taking for a fight, right? And he so clumsily gets caught up. So he's in the corner and he sits down. And Arguello was a fantastic boxer, a fantastic boxer with power, right? Especially in for a lower weight class. And early in the fight, he's lighting Aaron Pryor up. I mean, pop, pop, giving it to him. But Pryor's just not stopping. He's coming, he's coming, he's coming. He's not stopping. Aaron Pryor sits down in the corner, and his trainer says, "Give me the bottle, give me the bottle." And so his second goes and grabs the bottle and hands it to him. And he said, "No, no, not this one. The one I mixed." And it's caught on audio. And we like, the one you mix mixed with what, homie? I'm like, are you serious? Like it's hilarious.
That's
If
loose.
you look it up, yeah, I think it's Pryor Arguello 2. And you might even be able to put it in the search, the one I mixed.
That's hilarious.
It was insane. So that just blew me. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up from here.
Oh, that means it's time for my send off.
Bam.
All right. So thank you for watching the At Me Bro show. For all of you who are subscribed, thank you very much. If you're not subscribed, please do so. Feel free to comment your opinion. Send in your Ask Us Bro questions for next week on Twitter. And thank you so much. See you guys next week at this time. And stay tuned to the channel if we may have spontaneous reactions to the random events in sports and gamings.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all watching as always. God bless and peace.